on behalf of the team is the man who started playing organized hockey in Medicine Head, Alberta, but is better known as the Zephyrs' #1 center between Joe Castellick and Brian McGlade. It's a privilege to introduce Mr. Warren Beck.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee, and obviously by the number of people who are here, you recognize the value of what the Hall of Fame committee has done for your community. A lot of us don't live in the area anymore, but you've got an asset here with this group of volunteers that can never be duplicated. They do an absolutely marvelous job, and thank you ever so much for inviting us to be part of your Hall of Fame. And I want to congratulate all the other recipients this evening. They certainly have very distinguished athletic careers and commitment to the community. Something I also want to make mention about is Matt Duplessis took us through a tour of the L.C. Walker Arena. A lot of us hadn't been there in a long time. And what a marvelous asset that you have here in Muskegon. First of all, you should also know, from a national standpoint, Muskegon is known as Hockey Town, USA. And there's a tremendous amount of history of hockey coming from this community. And first of all, you have a marvelous community, and every time we come back, it's just been just a great thrill for us. All the members of the team are from Canada originally. I think only one of them lives back there now. Everybody else is still here in the United States. Joe Castellick and I played together in Louisville, and the team folded. Joe went to Fort Wayne. I went to Milwaukee. My wife, Mary Rose, and I had been married in September 1960, and we went to Milwaukee, which was a terrible organization. It survived until Thanksgiving. And for somebody that had not really been part of the professional sports field, this was a real shocker. And fortunately, we celebrated our 50th anniversary here 2 years ago, so she hung in there. And so coming here to Muskegon, and with Jerry DeLeese as the owner, he was a true businessman. And he applied business acumen to the running of the hockey team, and the discipline that he instilled in his front office operation, I believe, carried through to the team itself. And then having Moose Lalo as our coach, he had a great experience, and his between period pep talks were monumental, and to say the least. And he had a passion for the game and a passion for winning, and that carried on through. And then going down the list, Jim McLeod, our goaltender. Jim always, he was a tremendous goaltender as he went on to play at higher levels over the year after leaving Muskegon. And but while he was here, he'd make a big save, and he'd get some great response from the crowd. And he would always, you couldn't hear, the fans couldn't hear it, but we could hear it on the ice. He'd always say, "Don't cheer, throw money." And Jerry Claude, at that time, was physically a huge hockey player. 6'4", 250 pounds. And in today's game, he'd be somewhat average, or maybe just a little above average. Back then, this is not statistical speaking, but I would say the average size of a player in professional hockey from the National League right on through was about 5'9" and 170 pounds. And today it's more like average is about 6'1", 6'2", and about 220. And that's a significant difference when it gets right down to it. And the game, and just for those that haven't been watching the game that long, back when we played, the game was a puck control game, as opposed to today where, as we speak, the fifth game of the Stanley Cup is being played, the Devils against the Kings. But back then it was a puck control game. Nobody could handle the puck better than our center Lyle Porter or Larry Lund or Stan Conrad. Stan had the privilege of scoring the first goal at the L.C. Walker Arena, and also I want to special thank to Ron Stevenson for putting this all together and all the work that you did, Ron, and thank you ever so much. It's been a pleasure for us. I've been involved with the Dayton, after leaving here, we went to Dayton, Ohio, where I was given the position as player coach for the Dayton Gems, and was there for 4 years, and then left the game of hockey. But then here 3 years ago, got back in the game with the Gems, and the game is so different from when we played. To begin with, this may sound strange, but we didn't wear helmets. And of course, some people say, well, that's why you look like that. Right? But that's why you talk like that. But anyway, nobody got hurt. Yeah, we got stitches. That's not getting hurt. Being associated with the game today, players are bigger, stronger, faster, but that doesn't make them better hockey players. I've been saying for a long time, being the fact that I've been involved with it, is that a lot of the players today could not make the team that we had back in the 61, 62. Likewise, some of the players that from back then could not make today's team either, because the game has changed so much. But the fact that the injuries today are 100 times more serious than what we ever had. Yes, like I say, we got cut. Most of the guys always. And in fact, Ken Hayden, I don't remember ever seeing Ken Hayden without stitches. He was like that. And then Jerry Claude with a huge slap shot. Today, watching a game, you don't even see a slap shot because the game is so fast. And with our game being a puck control game, you had a lot of setup plays, that very picturesque goals, and hockey fans like to see goals scored, and hopefully the home team scored more than the visitors. But today, as made mention about that game against Fort Wayne in January of January 14, 13-2 game, I was going to mention that because I thought Brian has scored 5 goals that game. But anyway, right, Brian? Oh, you had 6 that game. Okay. Well, I had the privilege of being the center between Joe Kaslik and Brian. And something I also want to make mention about, the book that Jay Vandervoort wrote, the Hockey Heroes and Players. If you haven't read that book or seen that book, it's an outstanding publication. And there's a tremendous amount of details in there. And there's one quote in there from Jerry Shaw, who followed us. He said something, well, certainly I scored a lot of goals because I played center between Brian McLean and Joe Kaslik. Well, I had the same privilege of playing center between those two outstanding players. And as a result, during that game, that January 14th game, 13-2, I ended up with 11 points, 9 assists and 2 goals. That's unheard of in today's game, where you have so many games where 2-1, 3-2, and this type of thing. And not all the games were like that, but there's a lot more scoring done back in those days. Also from in Jay's book too, there's a lot of reference to players that have gone on to higher levels. Backing up a little bit, those playoff games that we played against St. Paul, they had a lot of players that had played in the National Hockey League and had come down to the International League. Now, if you can imagine if you took the 30 teams in the NHL and made 6 teams out of them, what kind of talent would you have? And that's exactly what we had back in those days. And then there was only 6 teams in the American Hockey League, where Ken Hayden had had a marvelous career prior to coming here to Muskegon. So the talent on that team of 61-62 was outstanding, from the goaltender right through to their front office to everybody involved, with a marvelous facility, and the upgrade that has been done to Walker Arena is just marvelous. And you've got just a great asset here in the community, and a marvelous community to begin with. And thank you ever so much, and it's been a pleasure being with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Warren Beck. Warren, if you could just come on around up front here. We'd like to announce all your teammates individually and have them join you. And you'll all get a good big round of applause. First, joining Warren is the Zephyrs player coach and leader, Moose Lalo. A defenseman, Joe Kiss. The wings of that first line, Brian McGlay. Also on that first line was Joe Kastelic, and he's a little under the weather tonight. He's in a local hospital. His wife Stella said he's going to be okay, but on his behalf, his grandson Glenn will accept this award. The goalie, Jim McLeod. The winger, Ron Stevenson. The centers, Lyle Porter. And Larry Lund. Three players on the team are deceased, and they were the wings of the second line, Ken Hayden, who was represented by his son, Ken Hayden Jr. And Stan Conrad, who is represented by his daughter, Kay Pallas. The third deceased player is winger Claude Boucher from Three Rivers, Quebec. And during this past year, we were unable to locate the captain, Jerry Claude. Ladies and gentlemen, the Turner Cup champion 1961-62 Muskegon Zephyr hockey team.